Welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show, where we talk about food, fashion, finance, and foundations of life. We are live on KCAA Radio Broadcasting Network, 1050 AM, 102.3 and 106.5 FM. KCAA is affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and NBC Sports. We are sponsored by Sheltered Studios, Fire Up Connect, and Building Solid Foundation.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, it's Kelly Bennett here with the KCAA family and the Fabulous Lifestyle Show. I'm so happy to hear from you. And I'm glad to be here because you know why? I got my partner, business partner, best friend, and co-host sitting right next to me, Cappi Pidwell.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here as well.
Right, and when we were asked to do this show, we were thinking, okay, foundation. This is the foundation show. So when you talk about foundation, I'm thinking to myself, okay, so I've got foundation that I put on my face, right? So we've got nonprofit foundations, right? And then we have the foundation that is kind of like on the ground,
Right.
concrete, that builds houses. And so I thought, wow, what a great way to start the year and continue on with building a great foundation for everyone here. So, Cappi, when we talk about foundation, what do you think of?
I think of building the foundation of your business, your life, and really getting those very important pieces together.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like you say, of course there's makeup and houses and all that, but I think for the foundation, most people listening to this are probably, business owners, entrepreneurs, professional people that want to create more in their lives, to create that foundation in their life. And I think a lot of people skip the foundation.
Oh, gosh, yes.
And just go to the vision or the dream, but
Exactly.
the foundation is like critical. To
Exactly. It's like building a house without concrete. It's like building that house
or without the blueprint.
or on sand.
Right.
You can have a beautiful house, you can have the walls and the carpeting and the decorations and all that stuff, but if you don't have a solid concrete foundation, it's just basically going to fall.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So that's what we're going to be covering here is foundation and how you do that. And so let's I don't want to give the whole show away, but in what people do right now in their lives, not starting at phase one, like you said, they start at the shiny object. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
It's like, let's do that. Let's go after that. I like that. That's so pretty. Let's do that. And then they start, and then what happens?
Well, there's no foundation. So I think that, we can certainly speak to that. And like you say, not giving away the whole show. But I think what is so important is, and we know in building businesses, we're both business owners, is, to me, it is like a house. There's phases. So for instance, people will come to me sometimes and ask me a question in building my business and say, well, what about this? And I'm like, well, we're not at that phase yet, right? Just like a house. Like you can't put the roof on before the walls are up, right? So really getting clear in phase one, let's call it, what are those steps that you need to take? And I think if people... because we're in a very information overload world right now. We've got the internet, we've got, phones in our hands. We're constantly focused, on stuff. But I think what is going to be so important for everybody really listening is to kind of go back to the basics, to put those steps down and to really look at what are those steps. And then inside like phase one, there's certain steps to take in that phase, right? So when people call me like on our team and they go, hey, Cappi, what about this? And I'm like, well, we're not there yet. We have to focus on this. And I think that's really important for people as they're building wherever they are. And everybody listening is in different levels in their life, right?
Right.
So no matter if you're leveling up, if you're, wanting to increase or open new doors, you still have to create that foundation.
Exactly. I remember when a client came to me and they wanted me to do their PR. And I said, well, what's your social media handles? Well, let me see your website. Let me see your, what your business is all about. And the sad thing about it is they didn't have social media. They didn't have a website. They didn't have a business plan. They didn't have anything. And I said, well, do you actually have a business? Oh, yeah, I do. And I'm like, okay, so to get to where I'm going to be helping you, you need to like actually be doing something.
Right.
Doing it, even if you just go to, the URL and get the URL for your business, that's at least a step, correct?
Right.
It's like have a website at least, but some people don't have, and some people don't. They just want to get their name out there. So I always have to say, what is it that you want for PR? Because that's my end. Do you want to be famous, or do you want to make some money? What do you want to do?
Right. Probably both.
Well, you would be
Most
surprised
people.
how many people just want to be famous.
Wow.
They don't care about the money part of it. They just want to be known for something.
Well,
And I'm
we're
like,
we're
okay.
kind of in that world right now, right? Like, look at me. Who am I? We've got YouTube. We've got all these different platforms where everybody is trying to be somebody, but still
Right.
kind of getting back to, foundation, I guess you could say, of life is even having that clarity. 'Cause
Right.
like you say, you do the PR.
Right.
I do the mindset, and I help people really with their internal obstacles, right?
With that said, because I know that with your sessions that you do with people, what do you think is the one thing that's holding people back from creating that foundation? Because I know for me, and I was telling my daughter this morning about this show, because I actually asked her what she thought about what foundation meant to her, and she nailed it. I mean, she was like right on it. She goes, "Oh, it's mindset. It's how you create something." And I thought for sure she would say something about foundation and cream and, powder and all that stuff. She's totally into makeup. But no, she was really right on track. But what I was getting at was when you talk to people, and I don't want to say how old I am, but I cannot believe how I literally established my foundation not more than like a year and a half, 2 years ago on really what I am focusing on, what I want to do. And that's very hard for me to swallow because of the fact that if I had the knowledge that I have now back in my 20s, oh my gosh, I think about where I could be, but then I can't dwell on that. I sit there and say, this is the process, this is the path, and this is where I'm going. And I have to embrace it.
Well, and I think it's awesome that at least you did get it, because how many people don't?
Yeah.
And then they're constantly chasing something different. Oh, I'm going to try this, or they do 10 different things and
Oh
they
my
don't do
gosh.
one thing well.
Oh,
right?
It's like spinning plates.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that guy? Spinning plates? It's like the plate's going to come off on one end, and all of a sudden you're like running over here going, nah!
Exactly.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Exactly.
So like, what do we do? How do we?
Well, what would you say? What do you think changed for you? Because you've been in business a long time. You've been an entrepreneur and a business owner. And I know when we met, you were like, "Hey, Cappi, I really need some help." But what do you think switched for you?
Well, you're the best kept secret. I want to tell everybody. Seriously, I don't think I could have done this without you, because without working with you, and actually, you literally helped me take my flag and just pound it into the ground and say, and this is who I am.
I love it.
Literally. I say literally a lot, don't I? So I think about that and coming across with more confidence, more self-esteem, more direct. This is, instead of, what's your budget? How much can you pay me? It's like, these are my prices. These are my packages. This is what I offer. It was so simple. And to think about that, on how hard that was for me, going through all of this, it seems so simple looking back, going, why didn't I think of that? But
Right.
yeah, you need somebody to literally
Help you.
help you along the way.
Yeah.
And just kind of see where you are. I guess I want to call it, fill those holes that you have.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But let me say this, because I think people listening can certainly probably relate. How many places and people did you go to prior trying to fill those holes?
Do I really have to say?
Well, this is
Can I really? I mean, this is like so transparent here. I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on programs and courses and coaches. I even hired a financial coach, thinking that she was going to help me, put all my packages together. And it was an interesting. It's been an interesting amount of years that I've been doing this, and without knowing where I'm going or what I'm doing, I just basically looked at it as an inner tube, and I was in this inner tube in a river somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I would go through major rapids,
Right.
you know, and there'd be like a waterfall coming up. I'd freaking crazy going down that waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
And some days it would be like really glassy, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. You know, and some days I'd, you know, go up on the shore, just kind of hang out there for a while. But yeah, running your own business is hard.
There's so many pieces to
Yeah.
it, for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's, of course, you know, the planning, but everybody has a different piece and everybody plays a different role. And I know as an entrepreneur, what I have found in us even working together and all the other relationships we create, because that's what our business is about, is
Right.
relationships, right?
Right.
But really finding people that already have their genius and do it really, really well. And then I call them my power partners. How do I pull in those people that do like you?
Right.
You do PR really good, and I didn't have a PR person, and you needed my stuff and I needed your stuff, so we partnered and we helped each other.
Right.
And I have found that in starting, and we'll share more after the next break, but about our new company, and really pulling the people in that have that expertise that we already know they can deliver. And to me, you know, when you're building anything, you have to have the right people on your team. So part of putting the foundation is finding the people
Right.
as well, right?
Your tribe.
Yeah, exactly.
Finding the tribe. Yeah,
Yeah.
because if you don't have a good tribe with you, and I've been through many people
Exactly.
thinking that they were going to be on my tribe and thinking they
Yes.
could have because they have to have your back,
A big
you know, and you
time.
have to have trust. And I think trust is a big issue with a lot of people because of the fact that if you don't have trust and you don't have, and I don't care what kind of relationship you're in,
Absolutely.
whether it be a business,
Yep.
a new relationship,
Yep.
your boss, or anything like that, you got to start with trust.
Yep.
And I always trust people to begin with until they lose it. And then they lose that trust, and then that's it. So we're going to be talking a lot about that and how you get into those relationships and how you start relationships, networking. And we're also going to talk about our new venture that we started together. You want to say the name yet?
Yeah.
Or we'll
of
just wait
course,
until
of course. We'll come back.
we'll come back with
Yeah.
that. So stay tuned. We are going to talk to you about this amazing network that we're putting together, and we want you to join us. So don't go away.
Welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show, where we talk about food, fashion, finance, and foundations of life. We are live on KCAA Radio Broadcasting Network, 1050 AM, 102.3 and 106.5 FM. KCAA is affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and NBC Sports. We are sponsored by Sheltered Studios, Fire Up Connect, and Building Solid Foundation.